When these guys went to battle, they went to battle in hand-to-hand combat. And Joab is going to live to be an old man, as is David. They're eventually going to pull David off the front lines when he hits about 45 years old. He almost gets killed. I think he just runs out of gas one day, and he's going to get killed by somebody. And someone has to jump down into the pit where he's getting ready to be killed by a Philistine and kill the guy and save David. And the army says, David, you are done. You are going into retirement. You know, there's no Cal Ripken record for you. You're going to go back and stay in Jerusalem. But David wanted to keep going. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, and I know you've thought about this, but these guys going day after day after day, or series after series of hand-to-hand combat, and living being old men. And can you imagine their bodies? I mean, what did David look like? I mean, we got this idea of this handsome, noble-looking king. But I mean, the man has been through battle after battle, and they're fighting with swords, and he's not just giving directions. He's up there killing people up until until they pull him off the front lines. So again, this is a whole different character of people that you sit by in church on Sunday, if you know what I'm saying. It's like the average pastor doesn't want to be David and take his congregation into battle. Like these guys, they may not fit in. And this is a completely different group. So it's just interesting to keep that in mind. Ahimelech was the leader there at that time, the high priest. Again, the tabernacle or temple, tabernacle's been burnt. The ark has been taken captive and is in Kerith Jearim. So they've got some kind of a sanctuary set up, but that is overrun by Saul. Ahimelech's son Abiathar is going to flee as his whole family is being slaughtered by Doeg under Saul's command. Abiathar is going to flee to David in the wilderness, bring in the ephod. The ephod is a garment that it goes over all the priestly outfit. They wear a white linen and they got a tunic. And then the ephod kind of fit over the top of that. It had a breastplate with 12 stones on it. And the ephod then had the 2 stones in it, the Urim and the Thummim, the 2 stones that they would take out and ask God questions. It's a mystery. Nobody really knows. The best thing we know about it is there's 2 stones, and they're called the Urim and the Thummim, and they mean lights and perfection. And so what they did, they appeared to ask God questions. You can see sometimes they'll ask, shall we go to battle? It's a yes or no question. So again, the Urim and the Thummim that the priest could have, they could use them like dice. They could be 2-sided dice, a yes side and a no side. You roll them, and they both pop up yes, yes. That means yes. They both pop up no, no. That means no, don't go. Or if they pop up yes, no, it means, and then you can see in here, God's not answering. So they do it again. Yes, no. You never get a definite roll. That's one idea. That's not definite. Something happened. They reach and they pull these things out and they ask God a question. Lights and perfection. Some people said they would glow or something. But we see very quickly, moving into this, is they start asking God specific questions, and God doesn't just answer yes or no or go or stay. He starts giving them directions. And so now what we've got coming alongside of this is a prophet or a prophecy. So now unless these things are going to speak, which it doesn't say they speak, but somehow you're getting a verbal instruction. Many times it would be assumed that the priest that's using these or in the position with the ephod is going to then prophesy or speak. They're going to ask God a question and he's going to speak for God in this communication. The point, Abiathar, when he leaves Nob, when Saul is having all the priests killed, runs to David, as we saw last week in 1 Samuel, bringing the ephod with him. So now David, in those journeys in the wilderness, as he's running from Saul, has the ephod, and he's got direct connection with God, and God is answering him. He's going to continue that practice up when he takes over in the kingdom. That first map that you see on page 1, it looks like this. Here's our map right here. Here's Galilee, Jordan River, Dead Sea like this, Mediterranean Sea. And we had up here Mount Gilboa, that's where Saul died. Ziklag is over here in the Philistine territory. That's where David was living because he left the land of Judah because Saul's trying to kill him. Saul dies up here, and as you see on that map, you got the arrows of the Philistines going up to the 5 kings. And eventually David's going to come back and get sent back to Ziklag. He's not going to join in battle. When he gets back to Ziklag, the city's been overrun. He goes off and pursues the Amalekites, as you can see on the... okay, you remember this? The tribe of Benjamin... okay, stay with me real quick. Back in the book of Judges, the Levi was traveling past Salem or Jerusalem, the Jebusite city, and didn't want to spend the night. Him and his concubine were traveling. He says, I'll get to the land of the Benjamites and stay there. That night his concubine got raped by the men of Benjamin. He gets up the next morning, she's dead. He chops her into 12 pieces. They always chop things up. Saul did the same thing. And they sent 12 pieces to 12 tribes. Should such a thing be done in Israel? And so all of Israel said, absolutely not. We're back in the book of Judges. So they all approach Benjamin, and they begin to slaughter the Benjamites for this wicked thing they've done. They're trying to fix their culture, I guess. And, okay. But nonetheless, they ended up with only 600 men left. So they had them hiding behind a rock, and they're about ready to annihilate the tribe of Benjamin. And so the men of Israel said, whoa, wait a minute. We're supposed to have 12 tribes. When we get done today, we're only going to have 11. They said, well, these days there's only 600 left. There's no men, no children, or no women. And we all took a vow that we'll never give our men, our wives to them as our women to them as wives. So what's going to happen? They said, well, let's find out. Is there anybody here that didn't take that vow? And sure enough, Jabesh Gilead never showed up for battle. Well, they go, they never showed up. Yeah, they never took the vow. Well, now we got two problems. We could use their women for their wives, but we got to kill them because they didn't show up for battle. So they all go march up and kill Jabesh Gilead and a bunch of people there, and they only find 200 women. They bring them back. Say, okay, we got 200 women. 400 guys go, what about me? So that's when they have the Shiloh. Shiloh's right here. They go, okay, hey, the girls at Shiloh, they have a May Day dance around a maypole or something like this, some pagan holiday they celebrated there, because they're all Canaanite. And they said, when they come out to dance around the pole, or they didn't say pole, when they all come out to dance, you guys just hide in the bushes and you 400 just go grab one. And if the dads get upset, we'll talk to them. We'll explain this is what we need to do. So the 400 guys go, okay. So they all hide in the bushes here, and they all grab the wife, they all came home, and there, everybody's happy. Okay, we got 600 women for the 600 men. Repopulate your tribe. Well, these people, Jabesh Gilead, 200 women, had come down here. And so remember when Nahash, now this is back in 1 Samuel, Nahash, king of the Amorites, had gone up to attack them, so we're going to gouge out your right eye. They sent messengers where? Down to their family, down to Benjamin, and Saul just happened to be from the tribe of Benjamin. He comes in from the field and says, what's going on? They're going to gouge out our right eye. And all these people, a bunch of them are related to these people. So they went up, of course, last week and saw Saul's great first battle and delivered the people from Jabesh Gilead from the Ammonites. Now, the reason I said all that, besides this just being a cool story, Saul dies on Mount Gilboa. Beth Shan, right here, is a city. It's on a hill, and it's, nonetheless, it's got a... The Philistines cut Saul's head off and took his armor back to their temples in the Philistia. But they take his son, Jonathan, and Saul's body and hang it on the wall of Beth Shan right here. And when the people of Jabesh Gilead heard about it, now listen, when the Philistines got down here, they just kept coming. And they just drove Israel out of the land. And that's when Mephibosheth is going to get, his legs are going to be injured. That would be Jonathan's son. The people of Jabesh Gilead go the other way. They come over here and take the body from Saul, or Saul's body off the wall, and Jonathan's body, and bring it back to Jabesh Gilead. They burn it because it's been, completely mutilated, and they bury it under a tree here in Jabesh Gilead. So in other words, these people showed tremendous courage, and that's why we're here in chapter 2. Questions at all? All right, have a nice night. Thank you for coming.